Video games have always been special to me. So this year I've decided to compile a list of just the 10 games that I thought were really amazing. And this is not gonna be your typical Game of the Year video because I got a Steam Deck this year. And I know that might sound irrelevant, but I kind of got to build up a backlog a little bit with all the Steam sales and stuff, as you do. And I've played some of those, like, just as an example, I've played Cyberpunk for the first time this year, so stuff like that is gonna be on the list. Obviously that's kind of a spoiler, but I don't really care, and I don't think you really care. So I'd say we can get started now with number 10. I hope you enjoyed the video and stick around. Starfield is definitely the most flawed list on this game. I really liked its soundtrack. The story was fine, I don't think it was anything too special. And hear me out. The gameplay, I thought it was good. Now, that may be because this was actually my first Bethesda game. I haven't played Fallout or Skyrim or any of that. That's something for the backlog. But yeah, I thought the gameplay was really fun. I played the game a little different from everybody else, I'd say. Because I went through all of the loading screens every time. I never used fast travel. Did it get annoying? Yes, it got very annoying, which is one of my critiques with this game. There's just too many loading screens, man. And that's why it's only at number 10. It had huge competition with Crab Champions of all things, just because I had that much fun playing it in multiplayer with a friend of mine. So yeah, I really recommend Crab Champions, it's really cheap, check it out. And Starfield is fine as well. So yeah, number 10 is Starfield. Let's move on.
These artifacts could be everything we've been looking for. Another
Sunset Overdrive is a really interesting game. I really enjoyed its humor. It has one of the best traversal systems in any game I've played. And of course it's made it by Insomniac, cause why not? And honestly, before playing it, yeah, I definitely wouldn't have expected that Insomniac could do anything like this, especially nowadays. Insomniac would not cook. Insomniac definitely would not cook. Yeah, I think it's a little bit sad, but also I really love the Spider-Man games of Insomniac, so I think they should just keep doing what they're doing. Sunset Overdrive, yeah, like, back to the thing. Anyway, Sunset Overdrive has a really funky story, and every step of the way it's just full of pretty fun shenanigans. I didn't think the gameplay really ever got old, and to be honest I was kind of disappointed when I got one of the only normal guns in the game.
Why did I move here? I guess it was the weather.
GTA 5 is iconic. I mean, how can you not like GTA? Elon. Anyway, weird cough there. GTA 5, it's a classic, everybody's played it basically, but this year was my first time playing GTA 5. Specifically the story mode, I played that the most. And I'd say, yeah, it's as amazing as everybody says. The only reason it's so low on the list is because the story is nothing special, at least to me. I mean, it's just, you know, it's just a setup for the action set pieces and stuff, and that's fine, but I don't know, I just expected a little bit more, I guess. But that's fine, and I hope GTA 6 can improve on that. Oh, and by the way, if you're one of those people who were like, oh, why did they already announce this if it's not coming for 2 more years? Fun fact, they announced GTA 5 2 years before it came out. So yeah, deal with it. That's just what Rockstar does.
Sit in the sun, but you know how it is.
Everything that lives is designed to end. We are perpetually trapped in a never-ending spiral of life and death.
I really wanted to love Nier Automata, especially since all of the reviews and stuff that I watched like 2 to be fair, but they all said that like the ending is super sad, and I've read online that like people, oh, I need a break from existence or whatever after the ending, you know, the one. Like, if you know, you know. Anyway.
I often think about the gods.
I thought that ending was alright.
And wonder if
Don't get me wrong,
the
it
chance
was,
to
I thought the whole game was amazing. I get why people like it, the soundtrack is goated, but I don't know, man. Like, the gameplay, yeah, it's good, but I thought it got old after, yeah, like 28 or so hours that I've played of it. I don't know. I guess it didn't speak to me as much as to other people. Yeah, it handles philosophical topics and stuff pretty well, but I don't know, I think there's better games for, or better stuff to watch for that. I don't know, it didn't speak to me, I see why it's important to gaming and stuff. I guess it's just not as much as my thing as I would have liked. Another fairly low ranking for a game of this caliber, Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah, it's amazing, all the mechanics are cool and stuff, and to be honest, whilst I was playing it, I really enjoyed it and thought it was my favorite game of the year. But, man, I just couldn't get into it as much as I got into Breath of the Wild. And that's my main issue with it. I had too high hopes, I guess, that it would be able to recapture the magic of Breath of the Wild, which for me it wasn't able to. I really disliked that the story was like to an extent just four times the same thing over and over and over and over again. And yeah, the gameplay, that's really good, but I don't know, the exploration aspect was such a huge deal for me in the original, in Breath of the Wild, that in the sequel, yeah, it just didn't hit as hard because some of the locations, I've already seen them and stuff. So yeah, that's why it's only number 6. Really wanted to love it more, but hey, still a really good game. Celeste is a really interesting case. I did not think that I would like Celeste because I genuinely dislike difficult games. Elden Ring, I bought Elden Ring, and I really did not like Elden Ring. I mean, Souls-likes just aren't for me, I guess. And that's what I've learned. Also, Hollow Knight, I played that, also wasn't for me. But Celeste, now this was a platformer that was tough, but I really enjoyed that. And we have another pretty difficult game on this list. And I don't know, these two just really work for me, whilst other difficult games just don't. But hey, I'm really happy that Celeste exists, its score is amazing, and its graphic art style thing is gorgeous. 10 out of 10 for me personally. It even has a good story, and I mean, I say even because, you know, typically platformers don't have good stories. Alright, yeah, this is the other difficult game I was talking about. Cuphead is one of my favorite games of the year for a reason. Its art style, just look at it, look at the cartoon graphics, they look so cool and so neat, and I like them so much. And like the gameplay, oh, don't get me started, it's like platforming, but also it's a run and gun, it's so cool, and the boss fights are so neat. I have the soundtrack saved like as one of my playlists. Listen to it all the time. Cuphead, honestly, another 10 out of 10 for me. I loved Cuphead so much this year. And I haven't played the DLC yet, but that's something for next year.
We have to talk. This is something else.
Spider-Man 2. Yes, I love Spider-Man. I'm a huge Spider-Man fan, and I'm not afraid to admit that, because it's just such a relatable character, such an iconic character, and to get another good game with this, like in 2018, when Spider-Man hits, ooh, that was amazing. Sure, the story in the first one was maybe a bit better, but they used up all of the Sinister Six in that first one. And with Venom, yeah, the Venom parts really hit in this game, I'd say. The end feels a bit rushed, but you know what? I can forgive all that, because it improves on every single aspect from Miles Morales and the original. And that's what matters. That's the definition of a sequel, people. Just the first game, but better. Deal with it. That's what a sequel is.
In 2077, they voted my city the worst place to live in America. Main issues: sky-high rate of violence, and more people living below the poverty line than anywhere else.
Yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 is my second favorite game this year. It's just, I think, the world is one of the best video game worlds ever created. And yeah, I know the launch wasn't good at all, but props to them for turning it around and actually sticking to their promises, unlike other games this year. And hey, technically, it's still a game that came out this year because they officially finished it this year with the 2.0 updates and like the DLC, which I also played, which is also pretty good. But I thought the original game was a bit better. And now that it's actually finished, honestly, it's a must-play, I think. Just because it's one of the best looking games out there. It has an amazing soundtrack. It has one of the best stories there is. And I think that should be enough. But also it has really good gameplay. And personally, I'm not really an RPG guy. Yeah, I know that's a controversial thing to say after I had stuff like Starfield on the list. But I don't really like RPGs.
I think this is it.
Like Elden Ring, I thought that was too much of an RPG, if that makes sense. I can't really define RPG. Just watch Scott the Woz video, You're Not an RPG Guy. That's an amazing video, and I'd recommend it to anyone. But it pretty much explains what I mean. But yeah, Cyberpunk 2077 doesn't really have too many RPG elements. It's more like an action-adventure with some minor RPG elements. Yeah, sure, the decisions don't really matter and stuff, but I don't care about that because the game itself is just really good. And I think everybody should have played it at least once. So that's why it's number 2 on this list. And now we finally get to my favorite game of the year.
This whole thing is pretty much done. We're more ghosts than people.
Red Dead Redemption 2 is honestly the best piece of media I have ever gotten to experience. Yes, it has some minor problems, but I can easily look past them just for the story alone even. I really enjoyed the gameplay, and the music is top-notch, but I really just want to focus on the story. This is honestly the only game that has been able to make me cry, just because the ending is that powerful. And honestly, you need to play Red Dead Redemption 2. It's not that I recommend it, it's just a must, honestly. It should be a new law should be made that you need to play Red Dead Redemption 2. Just because it's such an artistic masterpiece, and it does so many things right, and tons of people have already overanalyzed it over and over and over again. But just, man, Red Dead Redemption 2 is such a man game, you know? that feeling that you wanna get after an ending. That's what I thought was missing in Nier Automata, for example. Just like the man at the end. Man. Just that was missing, and that's why Red Dead Redemption 2 is my favorite game of this year and of all time.
Stay with me. You have to love yourself a fire.
So yeah, those were my favorite games of 2023, and even one of them my favorite game of all time. I'm probably gonna do the same thing next year. And also, why not? I'm gonna show you the tier list that I've made of all the games that I've played this year. Yes, I keep a tier list. Yeah, it has some controversial stuff in there, I guess. But I don't really care. It's not really, the tier list isn't really about, like, the quality of the game, I'd say, but there's more that goes into there. It's the quality of the game, it's the story, it's how I felt while playing it, it's how much it did for the gaming industry, like with Half-Life 2, for example. Yeah, that's just basically it. See you next year.